President William Samoei Ruto has tracked the former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua and now the leader for the DCP party, who recently said that if in 3 years there is nothing to show in terms of workability of President William Samoei Ruto, how again could he possibly say that he wants to transform Kenya into a first world country or to look like Singapore the way he has been insinuating? Now, President William Samoei Ruto has told Gachagua that they, the united opposition, lack trails of thought and they lack agenda. Anyway, here's a glimpse of how President William Samoei Ruto was responding to Rigathi Gachagua.
Sasa nasikia wale watu wa ukabila, wale watu wa chuki, wale watu hawana maono, wale watu hawana mpango, wale watu hawana sera, wale watu hawana agenda, ati wanasema haiwezekani Kenya kutoka third world kwenda first world. Mimi nataka niwaambie hawa majamaa, nyinyi si wale watu hawana mpango, ni kweli? Sera, mpango, sera, agenda, ama na magani? Sijui kama tunaelewana my friends. Tumeelewana? Sasa mimi nataka niwaeleze hawa jamaa. Nyinyi hamukuamini chochote tuliwaambia tutabadilisha Kenya. Hata saa hizi hamuwezi kuamini ya kwamba we can move our country from a third world country to a first world country. But we are going to shock you. We are going to surprise you because Kenya in our lifetime is going to move from a third world country to a first world country because we have the plan, we have the vision and we have the resources to do it. Nyinyi hamuna. Ama namna gani bwana?
Did what Gachagua say a lie or is it factual? Now, taking you up to speed. First of all, now let me play this clip of Rigathi Gachagua. Then I go on with my analysis so that we try to compare the two notes between the president's sentiments and Rigathi's sentiments. Then we get to know who is telling the truth and who is lying.
Biashara zimesimama. Na mimi nasikia Ruto akisema ati yako na mpango ati ya kufanya Kenya to be a first world country. Ni muongo si muongo? Now, William Ruto, aka Githinji, kama wewe unasema sisi tuko na akili ndogo, unatudharau sana. Kama within 3 years kazi yote Kibaki alifanya ya masomo umeharibu. Kazi ya matibabu Uhuru Kenyatta amefanya umeharibu. Biashara zote umeharibu. Watoto umesema wapigwe risasi kwa mguu. Biashara zote zimeharibika. Wewe Githinji unaambia wa Kenya ati wakupatie nafasi ati you can make Kenya a first world country. How?
Well, Rigathi Gachagua is a reasoning. Mr. President, if in 3 years you are not able to do anything tangible, you have been a pathological liar. You have been someone who demises your critics. You have been someone who like muzzling people. And by the way, if in these 3 years you have nothing to show for it, how again are you telling us that the remaining 2 years you'll be able to make Kenya a first world country? How is it possible? On the other hand, President Ruto is telling them they lack agenda. That is why they cannot comprehend the thought of how Kenya can be transformed into a first world country. Now, there are so many things that this regime has promised to do. But have they done them? Let us be honest, they haven't done them. Look, the economy is dwindling. The lecturers are on strike. The collective bargaining agreement they had has not been honored, not only from this regime, but also in the past regimes. Now, hypocritically, we had the CS for Treasury, John Mbadi, saying that if they honor and pay the lecturers their dues according to the CBA, then they will overstretch the Treasury. They will overstretch Kenya's budget and that the nation will be plunged into debt. Is this not far from lying? Because these people spend almost 300 million weekly, flying with choppers into so-called empowerment meeting. And by the way, have you asked yourself where they get these monies from? These are our tax money. These are monies from the public coffers. So, if there was a need and there was something to show that this country was supposed to be a first class, it would have already been done long time ago. Otherwise, what is happening in government is that people as interest-based, they don't want to go and represent those who elected them into power. And that is why we are having all these mishaps. So, to a greater extent, whatever Rigathi Gachagua is saying is nothing but the truth. We can go into records. We all were watching the Morara Kebaso's Vampire Diaries. You could see how government was having so much of ghost projects, cash cows. They come launch a project and go back after 6 months, 1 year again, they come relaunch the same project. Like, for instance, in the Kakamega region, you will see they will launch a road from a certain area to a certain point in one area. Then after a few months, they go in another area, launching the same road. What is this? They are trying to create a narrative that the president is actually launching so much projects, which is actually a lie. Anyway, this is the continued way in which President William Samoei Ruto is continuing to whip Rigathi Gachagua by saying the opposition has no agenda, they are toothless and very stupid. In fact, they have no brain to fathom the kind of development he's wishing for this nation. Region, you will see they will launch a road from a certain area to a certain point in one area. Then after a few months, they go in another area, launching the same road. What is this? They are trying to create a narrative that the president is actually launching so much projects, which is actually a lie. Anyway, this is the continued way in which President William Samoei Ruto is continuing to whip Rigathi Gachagua by saying the opposition has no agenda, they are toothless and very stupid. In fact, they have no road from a certain area to a certain point. And after a few months, they go in area, launching the same road. They are trying to create. I will not be wrong if I say that the political prowess that we were seeing in President William Samoei Ruto before the general elections of 2022 is long gone. Because now you are becoming a reactionary president instead of becoming proactive. Why am I saying this? All he does is to respond to the opposition. And honestly, we in the lower cadre here are not seeing him performing. We are not seeing him doing the job that he was elected to do. The electorate, this is my clarion call to you. It is not the first time I'm saying this. Always make sure that you elect leaders who are integrity-based. Leaders who take the interest of the citizens at heart. Leaders who are so competent enough not to be swayed and bribed to switch camps and allegiances because they are fighting for their greed. Let us be issue-based. Let us talk politics of emotions. For instance, right now, we could hear people saying that they want to elect President William Samoei Ruto to punish those who elected him for the first place. Now, have you ever heard the term, two wrongs don't make a right? Of course, that is it. We cannot do a mistake to correct a mistake. It only makes it worse. Whenever the economic times are difficult, are tough, also you will be going through the same economic difficulty. Anyway, what's your take? Give me your thought in the comment section below. If you love content of this nature and you're watching from my YouTube channel, kindly subscribe and press the notification button so anytime that we are live or we upload content of this nature, you'll be the very first person to be notified. Ahmed Khalif is my name for the Unscripted Talks here in Dub Radio. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Kwa timba kali za Afrika, Dub Radio ndio mpango mzima.